I mean, something that you definitely touch a lot on is this association with of superintelligence, as you previously mentioned, and empathy. Like you even have the term of empathetic superintelligence, and I mean, clearly we have a cognitive hardware that predisposes us to lots very interesting forms of empathy. Actually, you can detect someone. You can detect whether someone likes someone else by whether they're imitating their style of speech or the vocabulary that they employ. Um, but it seems to me that to an extent probably we have this very strong association of empathy and positivity because we are hardwired to have such association. Um, from a purely evolutionary point of view, I imagine that when a recursively self-improving sort of intelligence loop happens with individuals changing their own genetic makeup, changing their cognitive abilities, although I would really, really definitely wish and prefer the possibility that the runaway intelligent loop selects for highly empathetic individuals. I can also see the possibility of conscious, organic, recursively self-improving robots, or humanoids, sort of only selecting for the cognitive abilities necessary for their own well-being or for their own power. And even though there might be other instances of individuals who would be recursively self-improving with a concern for the well-being of others, there would probably still be a fraction of such runaway loop who would be sort of entirely self-concerned and would shun away any sort of sophisticated metaphysical understanding that would allow them to understand that their the self-other distinction is fictional, or so on and so forth. So just I'm not entirely convinced that the pairing happens naturally of empathy and superintelligence.
Well, I suspect quite a lot of AI researchers would think of empathy as a very kind of second-rate form of intelligence and will confuse it with the mere personality dimension of agreeableness. But in fact, an empathetic understanding is extraordinarily cognitively demanding, and it's worth recalling that what it is like to be another subjective experience, what it is like to be able to apprehend fourth, fifth, and even in the case of someone like Shakespeare, sixth order intentionality is as much a property of the natural world as the rest mass of the electron. So insofar as one wants to actually understand the nature of the natural world, one is going to want to understand other subjects of experience. Now, most of us, it is true, for good evolutionary reasons, are not mirror-touch synesthetes, and we don't feel the pain of others as if it were our own. We don't experience their perspectives as though they were our own. But I think with greater full spectrum of superintelligence, as one actually comes to understand the perspectives of other subjects of experience, that as one starts to obtain this godlike capacity to impartially understand all possible subjects of experience, this will entail expanding our circle of compassion. It is not possible, if you are a mirror-touch synesthete, to act in an unfriendly, hostile way to another sentient being. And I would see a generalization of mirror-touch synesthesia as part and parcel of being a full-spectrum superintelligence. That any supposedly intelligent being that doesn't understand the nature of consciousness, that doesn't understand that there are other subjects of experience as real as yours or mine like now, is in a fundamental sense ignorance. And if we're talking about superintelligence as distinct from malware, superintelligence is not ignorant.
Yeah, and on the other hand, like genocides are not necessarily ignorant of the fact of the suffering they're inflicting. Nonetheless, they might not have the phenomenal expression of sort of feeling the other person's pain.
No, I mean, what is the actual nature of knowledge of another person's another subjective experience? In the case of something like genocide, or all that we regard as most obnoxious in history, would seem to stem from metaphysically false beliefs about the nature of infidels or Jews or what have you. And I think we can be confident that superintelligence will not entertain false beliefs or a false conceptual framework.
I see. So, in a nutshell, the argument goes like this. If a conscious entity is capable of accurately representing the other person's experience, it would understand that it has the significance that it actually has.
I mean, a superintelligence, just as to understand the natural world via science, one knows that one cannot privilege some here and nows, that one needs to aspire to this view from nowhere, this godlike perspective. Likewise, in the realm of experience, that for sure the world seems to be centered on me. My pains seem to matter more than that of another sentient being on the other side of the world. But this is simply a fitness-enhancing illusion that is explained by natural selection, and that insofar as one is capable of achieving this godlike capacity impartially to represent all possible first-person states, then yes, one will not privilege one particular perspective over equivalent states of sentience elsewhere. It's illusory.